Wagwan, are you there? What's good? And you know who this is, baby. The number one podcast in America dedicated to all you kings and queens of color, homies and homettes, shotters, woo gals, G-boys, and charges. The one and only Jerk Jollof and Collard Greens podcast.
Wagwan, are you there? What's good? And welcome to the first episode of the Jerk Jollof and Collard Greens podcast. I'm your host and humble extrovert, Mr. Rubber Waistline himself, Mr. Hide Your Moms, Mr. All Jerk and No Chicken, G Ransom. And I'm joined by none other than my brothers in bonds, aka we only lotion the parts that show, aka all our female friends are saved under the male names. Let it sink in. The esteemed panel, and fellas, in no particular order, go ahead and introduce yourselves to the people.
Yo, I felt like you was trying to take a shot at me about the lotion parts.
Right. That's about all. But I gotta ask everybody to do an ankle check right now, and I guarantee you there's some ashy ankles up in there.
I'll definitely lick my thumb and then wipe
my
my
ankles are fire, so we good.
I don't think you should refer to your ankles as fire.
Yo. So anyway, man, back here with the not so ashy ankles. I mean, moderately ashy ankles. I can't lie, but I'm just gonna introduce myself. Say what's up to the peoples, and pass it to whoever else.
Well, what's your name? Who are you? Where are you from?
What you mean? First of all, oh man, I mean, yo. So anyway, I go by D Black. Everybody call me D Black because I guess I'm just so black, but I'm black and beautiful, right? Isn't that how it is? Tall,
black and beautiful, baby.
Minus the tall part, but
I'm proud.
You know what I mean? Been kind of like super hyped to do this like podcast thing, kind of get to share my, my insights with the world, have a, African perspective of things, Nigerian perspective of things, but, it's resonating with other people who have like, that represent like the diaspora that I kind of represent, because it's not just me just being an African man, but I do not, I guess, fall in the stereotypical African man perspective. So, I mean,
okay. Where are you from, D Black?
I representing the A.
Okay. A in the house, and y'all about to get some of this nor'easter coming your way.
Yeah, man, the storm is crazy.
Who's next from the panel? We got past D Black. Who's next up?
Yo, what's good, yo? My name is Francis, aka Franchise, aka Cuzzo. Yeah, what's good, y'all? Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be part of the podcast and join this amazing group of men and really kind of talk about things that we struggle with, that we experience from our day-to-day lives, and just living life and learning as we go. Obviously we don't know everything, but I think we've kind of went through, and I mean personally kind of went through enough stuff in life where I think we bring a lot of value to the people. And yeah, so I'm actually from Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria, and I came to Nigeria in the house. I came to the US. Yeah, hey, we got the best jollof. You already know. It's no competition, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, I came to the US when I was 12. I lived in New Jersey for a couple years. Then my family and I came to Minnesota, so we've been here since. So, but yeah, so I'm just here with my brothers, and we just trying to do this thing.
All right. Francis, who's next up? I'm gonna hear from Dre.
Hey, Dre. Most people actually call me DeAndre, but for all intents and purposes, Dre. No fancy AKAs, but I'm probably the dad in the group. I'm gonna be the very sensible one. I think that's kind of my role in the show. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here. My background is in design. I currently live in Los Angeles, California. Originally from the East Coast. I call New Jersey home. Always Jersey will be home, but currently living in California where I do not have to worry about snow. So I'm very excited. Air conditioner was on today. We We living over here.
What? Air conditioner was on. I mean, what was the temperature out there today?
Like in the 70s, it always like kicks on, cuts off. You know, it gets a little, you know.
It's always t-shirt weather. That's the
blessings.
Yeah,
I call that blessings, bro. Oh man,
Facts. Very blessed. Yes.
All right, facts. West Coast love in the house. All right, who's next? Last up, Mr. Chunky, as he goes ahead and takes a bite of his
Oh my gosh.
You guys can't see this, but you'll hear it.
Chunky, aka Chunky. Where am I from? None of your businessville.
AKA snacks on deck.
All the time.
Exactly.
All the time. Stay hungry. Happy to be a part of this podcast. Happy to do this thing. I'm your face. I'm about it. I may cry on this podcast. I know I'm going to laugh on this podcast. I know I'm going to yell and scream on this podcast. Unfiltered, not reserved, coming at you as hard as possible. I'm a human being, sometimes a robot, whatever you want to call me throughout the day. Don't matter. But I'm glad to be on here. I'm glad to get this rocking and rolling. It's been a long time coming. So let's do this.
All right, that sounds great. I guess lastly from myself, I gave you a whole bunch of AKAs, but I didn't tell you what exactly where I'm from or what the heck I do. But I'm one of your leading hosts on the show. I'm from the tri-state, representing New Jersey and some heritage over from New York. I'm your resident yardie of the group. That means all my Jamaicans stand up. And exactly, we about to get this show on the road. So normally the first segment of our show, we dedicate to our wake up, basically opening discussion, just to kind of go over things that happened over the last week or funny story, even comments from our crowd and our listeners. But since today is the first episode, we're just going to go straight into our discussion so you get to know the members a lot more, what our mission is for this show, and what we plan to provide for the public. And after that, also in the first segment, we'd also go over Black businesses. But again, we're just going to go straight into the topic of discussion today, which is us and how you get to know us and what we'll provide on the Jerk Jollof and Collard Greens podcast. So that being said, we'll go ahead and get straight into the first question. Would any one of our panel members like to describe how they met some of their fellow podcasters? How exactly did you guys meet? How did you get to know each other? And how they got started.
Like stories for days, right? Well, I can go first. This is D Black here. Well, first of all, friend, that's my cuz, cuz O.
Sure. Cuz O.
O to the capital O. So we go back way, I don't know how many years, man, since
long time.
Been in the US and been to the twin cities and been to each other's graduations, been to each other's weddings, talked about some difficult challenges in life. And, we kind of have like a lot of similar upbringing. So, his mom is probably the best throwdown. My mom is probably the most powerful prayer person in the Nigerian community. So
still waiting on that jollof recipe,
Yo, my mom be old and she's holding out on you, bro. I'm sorry.
All I care about is the puff puff. So whenever you got it.
Oh yeah, man. You that puff puff too.
Man, you love the puff puff? Yeah, puff puff are fire. I love those hot ones. Those are actually the best ones.
Man, it gotta be
when it's fresh, when it's fresh and just
I thought you meant like hot, like spicy. I'm like,
no, just when it's done, those are the best. That's when I like them.
No, you like buns. That's the
gotta have.
I like buns.
But it's probably the same issue all like Caribbean African households have. Nobody ever writes down a damn recipe. It's just kind of like, I just throw a little bit of this, throw a little bit of that.
I was like, bro, Mom, I need the recipe. I have Glenn been bugging me for at least a year and a half now for the recipe, and she's still like, I got you. We're still waiting. So. My bad, bro. I love you, but one day
I'll get it.
Yeah,
Sorry, like you was going into how you met everybody. So Francis is your cousin.
Yeah, man, my bad. Yeah, and then Dre. Actually, I'm gonna get to Dre in a second. Only say Dre for last. Yo. So anyway, Selassie and I, the hosts, we started school together, grew up together. We've had some kind of love-hate relationship. But he's kind of always been like my voice of reasoning sometimes, even though he's probably not the most rational person in the room ever. But yeah,
It's reason with a, just take the reason with a hint of salt. You know what I mean? Just
exactly.
get out of it.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like the funniest thing about Selassie is that I don't even know how we friends, because I feel like the last memory I remember like was me hating this dude. And I was like, oh, because we was leaving, going for the summer, and this man didn't clean out his room.
Oh boy, here we go.
He left his and because if you leave your dorm room, it's gonna be like, and you leave your dorm room dirty, they charge you for it. And this man did not care. He was out. He had dirty bed sheets everywhere.
I would say this was a cultural lesson. You know what I mean? Like,
and I'm like, why am I talking to this dude after all that?
How it really went down was I told him, yo, I'll be back. You know what I mean?
And he ain't never come back.
Well, we all know that that was college. That was Willie P. That's the Willie Bump days.
Yeah.
And we all know, like, we'll go into that. I'll recap that situation.
So anyway, just a little snippet, and then just me jumping into then from there, kind of going to Rutgers, playing ball, and doing everything like that, and then that's kind of how I met Chunky. But it's funny because I actually knew Chunky in high school, but we weren't cool. You know what I mean? We didn't really talk.
Man didn't know who I was, didn't give a about where I was standing. Hey, Aunt, like who? Get the fuck out my face.
I mean, my goal is just focusing on being the fastest person on the team. So that was it. Getting over. That was it. I didn't really pay attention to nobody else on the squad. But yeah, man, Chucky and I, we ended up parting ways a little bit. I mean, we really didn't know each other in high school, but then we ended up getting to college, and we ended up becoming the best friends, and we spent all our time together, to the point where it's almost like we were inseparable in college. It was kind of weird. But when I look back at it, we spent almost all our time together. So it was we slept, we ate, we worked out.
For the record, we didn't sleep.
I was like, you slept. I mean,
pause. He slept on the couch. I slept on the bed.
I was like,
okay.
But I have slept in his bed before.
Open mind. This is 2021.
That's fine.
I'm
not judging.
Together or
but 2021.
I'll leave that up to your imagination.
Together
and then through online gaming, whatever, bro. I ain't leaving nothing to your imagination. I better calm down.
That way, I'll see
online gaming and community. Was able to meet Dre, and then mind you, we met a lot of people online, playing video games and stuff like that. But Dre always had big that voice of reason. And it was very easy because a lot of my immediate people like Selassie and Chunky, they like sports, but they don't know sports. And Dre was the only one that actually truly knew basketball. Outside of Chunky be talking about Walter Payton still running for 200 yards.
Let's draft that Dennis Rodman.
And then Selassie, the only time he knows basketball is when it comes to
it gotta be fantasy. Honestly,
fantasy, that's it.
Or it's something where you can't avoid hearing. All right, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the bachelor party. It was a basketball. I caught up on all the basketball I probably missed in the last 5 years. You guys were stuck on this one player getting traded or being drafted in, and I'm like, yo, we're gonna talk about this the whole bachelor party. It's gonna be still talking about.
We're still talking about Michael Jordan.
It was some player. Y'all.
All I know is we were supposed to play basketball and y'all didn't show up. So.
Yeah, nobody wanted to play. I was actually.
You guys didn't want no smoke.
Listen, when COVID's over, it's on.
You guys don't want to
be
smoke.
recorded.
That's why. That's where I got my name franchise from.
I'm
about to show y'all.
I don't know.
My cousin get buckets though, so
they call me Mr. Bucket, man. Stop playing.
They call me Infa Defense, so let's see what happens.
Yeah.
That's fine. I can't wait.
All I know is we're all too old to lose teeth or break anything. And it's not coming back. So hold that one.
Hey, that's true though.
But before I dive into any specific stories and put anybody on blast, anybody else kind of want to just kind of talk about how they met? Everybody's perspective might be slightly different too.
We'll get into the stories though, but all right, who's next up on the roster?
I guess we can keep the same order. So from the screen here. So obviously, D Black, Oye, my cousin, man, my cousin's so funny. My cousin's actually one of my favorite and one of my closest cousin. So my mom is one of 32 kids. I know. Crazy number. that's another story. And my dad, my grandpa,
Wait,
he
you
had
said 32?
32 kids, bro.
Like
My mom.
3 to
3,
2,
2?
32.
Yes, my mom. So
Like
I
the
have,
number after 31.
bro. Yes.
Okay.
That's like low key abuse.
No, but it's actually my grandpa on my mom's side. He had 8 wives.
Oh,
So 32 kids from 8
do the
wives.
math. Do the math.
So so I have a lot of cousins, but the sad part is I actually don't know a lot of them. And so my cousin is really one of my closest like cousin that I really, so I value our friendship, obviously.
Cousin
So,
above all cousins.
yeah, so like so that's something I've always coveted after, always having that family relationship. So I'm glad that I have that with my cousin. So, and that's really how I met the rest of you guys, So, my cousin, I had the privilege to be part of his wedding, which I was really surprised with, and I felt honored to be part of the man up there with him. So, and so all the guys, we created a group chat on WhatsApp, which I wasn't too involved with because WhatsApp was such a foreign app to me at the time. So, and just like kind of meeting the guys and I couldn't wait to meet them because my cousin told me about Glenn, like, yo, you're gonna like Glenn. He kind of reminds me of you and all this stuff. So I was really looking forward to meeting all the, a bunch of the guys, even, Dre, just super laid back in the group chat. And so we obviously all met in Montreal for my cousin's bachelor party. So that's kind of how we all met in Canada. So it was a good time. I'm sure we'll kind of dive into some of the activities and stories from the bachelor party, and I met Chunky actually at the wedding. So Chunky was no show at the bachelor party.
It's all
I'm
good.
sorry.
Hey,
you know what? I still love you.
But
I still love you though. I still love
Under
you.
the tractor
I love
trailer
you.
hard.
He said,
real talk though, he helped make it happen because he still paid his dues for the for his share for the Airbnb and everything. So
Shout out to Chunky. I had to just give him a hard time for that.
extra massage
Because Chunky is known to give people a hard time, so I'm starting early. I start with this one.
They don't know that yet.
Well, you're gonna find out because I'm just doing my early swing right now because I know he's coming for me. So, but yeah, so Chunky, we met at the wedding, and he's it's really interesting because he told me he thought I was like super shy, which is whoever knows me would think that's really opposite because of what they think I am. But yeah, really amazing guys. And I'm just glad that I got the chance to meet everyone, and we all really are super chill and cool. So thank you.
Yeah, one of the funny things you definitely mentioned there was the group chats, and I mean, like, am I the only person that feels like sometimes you get invited to group chats that have nothing to do with you? You like, yo, why am I in this shit? It's just like happy I'm talking about something else. And like men's group chats are just so random. One day you're talking about something, and God forbid you miss a day of text. It's like, yo, I got like 100.
It's 100.
Bro, you guys be talking
over nothing.
From Selassie.
You guys be talking.
This man,
Right.
Selassie will send a text message and like 8 different text messages, and it's like 2 words per message.
Yo, there's a podcast chat.
Oh my God.
The boys chat.
It's the worst thing when I'm at work. Ping, 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 ping.
My favorite part of the group chat is when Glenn and Chunky are going at it about whatever topic.
I know,
So
right?
what you'll find out very shortly about Glenn is that he likes to troll. He knows the buttons to press, and he knows especially the buttons to press on Chunky. So the group chats, whenever they are going off, it's those two kind of going back and forth, and Glenn just saying things just to get a reaction out of him. And like clockwork, he gets a reaction out of him almost every time. I think he is getting better at it. I will give him that. Chunky is getting better at it, but
it has helped
Glenn
me.
knows what to do, what to do and say to get a reaction out of Chunky every time, and it is hilarious.
It'd be like the smallest things, like, yo, your feet small. I'm like, what? It's just going on.
It'll be like the most misguided chat ever. It'll be like 1 minute you're talking about something, switches the topic to something completely different.
It's a stereotypical old man chat, bro.
I mean, one thing I do love about our chat, though, we talk about everything. it kind of reminds me of like what the podcast is. You know, nothing's off the table. We really just talk about everything. It could be from stock market one day and talk about gaming the other day and etc. So it's really cool. I do enjoy that.
Yeah, welcome to our WhatsApp chat right now.
I know. I just gave you a
IRL.
full rundown of what is in there. It's funny.
Exactly. All right,
I
next up.
I guess I can go. Really, the person who kind of connects me to everyone is Chunky. On the representing for the African Americans in this here. Basically, you know, everyone is a cousin
Greens.
as long as you, you know, everyone is family in the Black community. And even though I don't think Chunky and I are really related by blood, he is my cousin, right? Where we are related. So I won't get into too much of the details because I think that may reveal some of his mysterious identity. But let's just say that we are cousins. And basically kind of connected through gaming. Actually, I met him over by playing video games first. It's kind of like my way of kind of meeting everyone in the minus Francis. Basically, a lot of my first interactions with D Black, with Glenn, and obviously Chunky as well has been through playing video games. I'll spare you all the details, but the one game that I think we had the most fun playing early on was Left 4 Dead. So I'm really excited.
I thought you were going to say FIFA for a second.
We play a little FIFA too, but Left 4 Dead was kind of I think the game all the way in the beginning. I don't remember I don't know if D Black actually played Left 4 Dead.
Nah, I didn't play that.
It was just me, Chunky, Glenn, and my brother, who played Left 4 Dead, and then I think eventually we started playing FIFA, pro clubs. I'm the only FIFA player now out of the crew, so I had to get a whole new set of new friends to play FIFA with. So these guys got me hooked on playing FIFA, and then kind of left me. Well, not necessarily left me, but you know, had responsibilities and things like that. So I won't give them too hard of a time. But yeah, I'm still very much addicted to FIFA, and I'm trying to get Francis to get some type of a gaming console so that
Xbox One.
Trying to get him on Team Xbox so that ultimately we can I can get him playing FIFA and 2K with me, because I don't know if I can rely on these guys anymore. So hopefully I can catch them at some point. But
no, that's definitely not me.
Maybe 5 years from now.
That's the ball. All right, I'm not playing this.
Memories. I couldn't even touch the ball for like a second, bro. And I'm just like, yo, are you
Bass, I'm open.
Like, first, I hate creative characters, right? I think gaming is definitely a common tie amongst all of us. Well, Francis will eventually get there, but 4 out of the 5, gaming is definitely a common thread for all of us. And I think everyone here knows how much I hate creative characters. Like, any game that has a creative character option is like, I'm not doing it. This is play.
Isn't every character technically created character?
pretty much.
The games that I like pretty much, like, you know, the UFC days before Chunky started stomping everybody out. And it was
because I lost at one time. I was just like, "Yo, f this."
Everybody, what game we talking about?
UFC.
Oh,
the first UFC game that came out, like, 2000
for hours, waiting for Glenn to come
over.
over. Waiting for Glenn to come over.
Yeah, it showed. Them hours showed. This man was hibernating on that game, bro. I was like, "Yo, are you serious?" It's better than the players in real life.
19 nights. Oh my gosh.
Like, I think Dre was going through his intro still.
Oh yeah, no, that was pretty much it. I think really Chunky was the one who kind of introduced me to everyone, and obviously I met Francis a lot later. A funny story actually about meeting Francis is obviously minus Chunky. Francis is the first person I met in real life. So I met Francis in real life before I met Glenn and D Black. So basically we arrived at the airport at the same time. So I actually got to meet Francis first in person, see him before meeting Glenn and D Black, who obviously I've known online for, I would say, well over 10 years. So it was a really interesting thing. And crazy. I even lived in New York. So like there was times where literally we were all potentially living in the same geographic area, and New Jersey-ish area, and we just never found a way to kind of meet up. But it was really great to meet up that way. So yeah, that was an interesting thing that I met Francis in person first before before Glenn and D Black, who I had known for years before that. So
I feel special.
Really interesting.
Good. It's crazy, like just how the idea that you could meet someone and not see them at all, just because of how technology and everything affords that opportunity to us, and yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
it
Chuck,
is.
you want to go next?
Sure. So Dre, love him to death. He's definitely, out of all of us, the father figure. Met him through his brother and my cousin playing video games. He invited me up before he left for Cali, visit him in New York. Got to see him. We went to a trampoline park. That was super fun. That was a lot of backflipping and
What
pain.
happened at the trampoline?
Yeah,
park?
how old were
Y'all-
you?
So I
y'all-
almost
y'all-
broke my neck trying to
y'all
be
like the
cool and
tallest
doing the
dudes in the
backflip.
room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
but
bitch.
like, our mutual family member, he's crazy athletic, right? Like this man holds records to know tomorrow, and he's hitting backflips like it's nothing. And he looks at us like, yeah, y'all could do it too. Me and Dre look at each other like, yeah, nah. But me being who I am, I'm just like, what's the worst that can happen? I'll break my neck and die. All right.
I'm trying to be down.
I'm like, how tall are y'all two? Like,
I
I
Dre's
know,
like
y'all
6
tall,
foot.
man.
Y'all two
I'm
tall for
six.
backflips.
I'm 6'4". But I definitely not to cut off your story, but I definitely tried to do a backflip because also his friend was a big guy, right? So like you see this big guy like backflipping, he's like very, I'm like, I can do this, man. I'm more athletic than this dude or whatever. And I literally went for the backflip and I literally fell on my neck on the trampoline. Like I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna be paralyzed. So if it was real ground going on, I definitely would be doing this. I would be doing this. I would be doing this from the comforts of a wheelchair because I definitely fell directly on my neck.
Yo, how old were y'all when this happened?
This
is a while ago.
Maybe like 8 years ago or something like that. Maybe.
Yo, that's funny. Grown man doing flips.
Hey,
Hey, what happened to Dre, man?
Gotta try it. Like he tried, but he wasn't successful.
I know.
It's like you lost a step.
Learn today.
So like D Black was saying, like we known each other in high school. He didn't care who I was. He wasn't trying to talk to me. Play on the same team. Got to college.
Why you trying to make me sound like I was one of the cool kids or something in high school?
Like no BS. Like you were. I was a
junior, bro. I kept to myself.
I'm just like he was one of the fastest people on the team, hands down. Why they didn't start this man, I have no idea. So he had the athletic prowess of whoever you want to put in there. I would equate him to either Walter Payton or
like
he is a very talented football player. Except for that one time we were outside.
I didn't realize you were that good.
People looking up game film right now, bro.
I know, like,
we were in the parking lot and he was practicing juke moves. And he fell and like messed up his wrists.
What? This is in college or high school?
This was in college. Like it was
damn.
I forgot. Like it was either raining or snowing, and like his dumb ass was just out there like, oh, you want to see this juke move? And he does it and he falls. But yeah, like we always hung out with each other. Where they saw him, they saw me. I will give him big props. Like most of my athletic career at the R was because of him. He gave me that opportunity, saying like, this guy is worth your time. And one of the funniest stories I had was just that I had to put on weight. So I walked on at 180 and got to 245. And I'll hop into the story when I saw Glenn again, and he looked at me. He's like, I swear to God, you on steroids. I'm like, no. Like,
yo, we was on that Dragon Ball Z diet, bro.
Like, we went to the cafeteria and I got a quesadilla that had to been like 18 inches wide or whatever. And I had to eat the whole thing.
Pause. 18 inches wide.
Whatever. So in diameter. So I'm eating it and like I get full. Like, yo, I'm full. I can't eat anymore.
Okay.
He's like, you gonna finish this? I'm like, no, like I'm gonna throw up. He's like, I don't care. You're gonna finish this.
Whoa.
So I finish it and I literally start crying sitting there. And he gets up like, I gotta go to class. And he walks out. So like I walk upstairs and like I sit down on the bench and it looked like I was about to die. The student comes up to me like, oh, you okay, bro? I was like, nah, I think this is it. I think I'm gonna be dead in the next 5 minutes.
Off of a quesadilla.
So that's how hard we ate, we lifted, and like I said, I can't thank him enough for that opportunity. Glenn, I hate you. with all my heart.
Golly.
I know hate and love on the same side on different sides of the same coin, right?
I met him through D Black, and we became the best and worst of friends. Like I know I can call him no matter what the situation is.
Krabby Patty.
I know he doesn't tolerate my attitude whatsoever. As soon as I like flip the switch and get angry, this man's like, "Oh no, I'm done talking to you." Like,
I'm out. I'm out.
I be going through the worst stuff. No, I don't care. I ain't dealing with it.
I'm on.
But on the back end, he'll always come and talk to me like, "Yo, I just don't want to deal with your attitude up front." So I'm just like, "Yeah, cool. I'm super abrasive." But yeah, like what D Black was saying, like we spent the entire summer eating Krabby Patties, lifting at the gym until one day he stopped talking to me. It was him and D Black that stopped talking to me at the same time. Craziest thing ever. But as you see, like we're brothers.
We're tight.
Francis, I met at D Black's wedding. Like he said, I thought he was super quiet. I'm like, this dude's awkward. We sat at the same table together. I'm like, it makes me uncomfortable. This man's not saying anything, but just looking at me.
That is so funny. I don't remember this.
I'm like, what do you want? Super cool dude. Over time, we got to know each other better. Appreciate you. Got a lot of love for you. You got your first swing in. This entire time we're doing this podcast, you're f***ed, just to let you know.
Man, I was f***ed regardless.
Yo,
I'm lost now, boy.
Hey, you know I had to get my swing in quick. I was like, got him. Yo, if you guys know, y'all know I'm like, well, okay, I'm 5'7", 5'9" on a good day. So, you know, Chunky is a big fella. So I don't mess with Chunky. I just get my swing in. I get my swing in and I run.
Nah, Chucky, no, bro. Chucky, you got
Most likely to get
Chucky know how
snuffed
it
in
goes.
this.
Yeah, I know how it goes. Like, get your swing in early or I'm not paying attention. That'll just only make me mad. But Glenn, he's the only person I think that can just piss me off and just like I'll just like not know what to say. And T Black's not a man I want to fight for several different reasons. Dre is my family, and I'll hug him no matter how mad I get.
That's the perfect segue. So I'm basically gonna go and by the way, I'm the Glenn Selassie G Ransom, whatever you want to call me. I'll go in order of how I met everyone. I think that's the best way to put it, like in a sort of chronological order. But D Black, definitely met him in college, and like I would say, definitely meeting someone in college is completely different than high school. College, everybody's like, you're out of those kind of like social boxes anymore. It's kind of like, yo, you're in your own world, do what you need to do. And how he got the moniker D Black was because I remember orientation day, this dude walked into the bleachers, into the gymnasium at Willie P, and he was like, darkness has arrived. Darkness is here. And he's the blackest person. Like,
First of all, hold on. Nah, because Dave Chappelle was mad popular at the time.
That's what
that was the whole thing, and I thought it was funny. So I don't know why I did that.
But yo, to his credit, like he was just the known person. Like I've seen this guy go through like stages like of evolution in a way. And I always felt like what he described himself as was always different from how he appeared. I don't think he ever realized that. Like,
oh, interesting.
If you ask him, he'll say he's an introvert and all that. But I'm like, nah, bro. I think you really like the spotlight a little bit. So he comes in, Marcus has arrived like with some shorts and a t-shirt, backpack. I'm like, okay, who's this dude now? But I actually didn't really get to meet him until maybe a couple semesters later, where we actually became dorm room mates we shared the same dorm room over there in the projects.
Oh, God.
And I had to initiate him in, you know, kind of like, you know, gang and shit, like, welcome, you know.
For the record, it is not the person to get into any type of fight. He's the one where if I was to knock someone out, he will come up behind me and then stomp him out.
I think we can say I can pretty much hold my own. You know what I mean? Like,
we've been in situations where you just wouldn't fight.
Like when? Like I've held my own. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'll admit I'm not the type of person that's going to go around looking for a fight. You know how I looking for a fight. You know what I mean? Like, you obviously gonna think A, I got a weapon on me, or B, I got a gang of dudes ready to fight behind me, right? If you saw me on a one-on-one.
No.
But if it, you know, if I had to, then you trust and believe that New York is gonna come out, that Yardy's gonna come out.
You gonna melt their mind with insults.
That too, you know what I mean? We rolled around a bit, do a little jujitsu here and there, but I would say definitely for me and D Black, it's always been, I wouldn't say so much a love-hate. It's like probably the most brotherly relationship I've ever had, because in a way I feel like we're very good friends, brothers. We also compete with one another on the low too. So it's like in everything, we always kind of like low-key competing with each other. So that's where that kind of, rivalry comes into place. But I always consider it healthy because he's always been the person that you could turn to and be like, yo, bro, I need this, I need that. Hook me up, help me out. Yeah, and he was like, both of y'all was like at Rutgers together working out. Y'all like had like beach balls tucked into y'all shirts. And I'm like, yo, what kind of stuff are these dudes on right now? And then but yeah, definitely been, this straight up brothers. Like I don't have any blood brothers. Well, let me think back. I'm Jamaican. It's probably
you gotta make sure, bro.
Probably some half siblings I don't know about yet. But if I were to say, yo, if anybody was my brother in my life, it would definitely be D Black. We've been through it all, and definitely learned a lot from each other. And then there's Chunky. So not too long, I think D Black did like a semester, maybe a year or less at Willie P. And okay, this is what happened. So basically, it was the moving out day. I was pretty much getting ready to go home, and he told me, I'm gonna be here for like another day or so. So I was like, all right, bet. I ain't gotta take all this stuff right now. Cause you all know how it was. I didn't have a car, nothing like that. I had to rely on my parents to come and get me and then do the trips. And it's a hassle. So I was like, all right, bet. You gonna be here? I'm gonna come back and get the rest of my stuff.
Damn shame.
So one thing I know about him, he's like, yo, all right, if you're gonna come, make sure you come. I'm gonna throw all your stuff out because I ain't trying to get hit with this charge. So I was like, all right, bet. I was like, all right, bet. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna let you know. I ain't had no cell phone, no phone. I even had this dude's number, I thought. So I'm just like, okay. I didn't think about that too well until afterwards. So sure enough, maybe like a day or two later, he calls me. He's like, bro, what happened? Like, you never came back. He was like, I had to throw out all your shit. And I'm just like, oh, damn, my bad. I forgot about that. So it wasn't like even intentional. But yeah, he had to end up dumping out all the rest of my stuff that I left over anyway.
Ain't even clean the room. Ain't no nothing, bro. I spent the day on that project. Clean up
Solo dolo. Get my man dirty.
Doing all this craziness. I was like, this man didn't even show up. He didn't even let me no message. I was asking the what's the name? The RA for the floor. I was like, yo, can I get his contact? She was like, I'm out. You got this. She didn't give me no information. I had to hunt to find this man contact information.
Oh, that's funny that you guys didn't have each other's number though. You guys lived together.
Yo, somehow he got it. Somehow he got it, and it was just
oh man, that's hilarious.
He's like, yo, I've been trying to call you, bro. You're not answering your phone. It's just like, yo, my bad. So basically,
let him know that through all his stuff, so he wouldn't go back for it.
Yeah, I never came back for it. It was gone. I don't remember what was thrown out, but so then not too long after D Black leaves Willie P, he transferred. This man went from school to school, by the way. He went from Willie P, then he went to Florida at one point to do football training. He came back looking like the Incredible Hulk. And then he went to Rutgers. And, that's basically when, definitely started to keep more in touch from that point on, knowing that, all right, I'm not going to be able to see him in person or whatever. So after he goes to Rutgers, that's when I get to meet Chunky. And I used to come to Rutgers, New Brunswick, for their like Caribbean festivals or something like that. Caribbean Day, yeah. Before they shut that down, they used to have like dance hall, reggae, soca artists come, and it would just be a whole, like Caribbean festival, carnival type thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would always come out there, and then he told me about his new friend. He's like, yo, I want you to meet this dude, Chunky. He's pretty cool, blah blah blah. So yeah, basically, Chunky was the only person that had a car for real. So basically, Chunky was like the one driving.
You like had a car.
Not yet. I think he was like,
not yet.
Nah. That green,
oh, the green van.
Corolla. The van was after the Corolla.
Oh yeah, that was a short-lived car, bro.
I remember that. Because they was on the phone with me, got into a car accident. It's like, yo, I just got into a car accident.
I remember the green van with the door that wouldn't open.
No,
the van was white.
You're talking about the minivan that I was driving.
The minivan was white.
Yeah, that van was his life, bro.
Hey, you know what? Every African had a van, man. Stop playing.
So yeah, so basically, for the most part, Chunky was the one that was coming to pick me up from Willie P and go to back to New Brunswick and have to drop me off at the end of the Caribbean Festival too. So basically, that's when I got a chance to meet him. The first time I met him, but like he was like a little reserved. I think obviously, with most people, you just trying to like feel each other out. Like,
do I punch him or do I not punch him?
Yeah, like sometimes you meet somebody off a recommendation and you just like, let me just feel this person out before I start, going in, and you looking kind of sus. So yeah, definitely probably took him no time before we started talking. I think we all had the common interest of like gaming and anime, so it was only a matter of time before kind of broke through that wall. Pause. Kind of broke through and got to him.
I don't understand. Like,
I just thought about breaking through walls, and I'm just like, wait, hold up, I don't know if that's a reference. So
there are walls and houses on buildings.
Yeah, but it's too open.
It's too open.
So, you're okay. You're good.
Yeah, so that's basically when, met him through those events, and then we had our ups and downs. We kind of always go at it back and forth, but it's all love. There's never really like any animosity behind it. It's just kind of like, okay, like, all right, dude, you gonna come at me with that? I'm gonna come back.
He'll say like the craziest things that will make zero sense. But you ain't a real person. I'm like, what are you talking? I've been talking to you this whole time.
You know what it is?
I'm like, what?
It's kind of like, all right, somebody comes at me with a weird angle, I'll just shoot it. When the argument goes past like logic and reasoning, and it's a person still wants to keep going, I'll just come back with the same energy they bring to me.
I can come at you with logic and reasoning. You're just fully opinionated. It's like fully opinionated. I can say 2 + 2 is like, nah, but on Mars is 18. You didn't think about that, did you? I'm like, we're not on Mars. But if you think about it, time is a construct. So if you
time is a construct.
We'll end up in Mars. So the answer
everybody has that one. Everybody has that one person in their group.
Yeah.
But I try to keep
forever the devil's advocate. And just so y'all know, Selassie got a lot of nicknames, and it all relates back to the different aspects of his personality. Like, so he's Selassie, because Emperor Selassie, because when that's self-explanatory, right? But we got backseat banger.
Backseat banger.
That story.
I haven't heard that one.
Crazy.
Backseat banger.
All right, Chucky, you can talk about the backseat banger.
Oh man, I'm not.
All right. I'm just gonna listen. So we got backseat banger. We got Jagoose.
Another one.
AKA.
Oh my god.
What were we doing that night where we got that?
What? And then, of course, my all-time favorite, Mr. Relentless.
I think I was driving. Something stupid happened, and then like Glenn was just dishing out like nicknames to everybody in the car.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what he called D Black. I don't remember what you called me, but like backseat banger stuck with you.
Yeah, that stuck with him forever, bro.
We just in the backseat saying like the most random stuff, ready to pop off on somebody
for no reason.
Bro. Like yelling from the backseat because you had that 2-door act. I remember that. And you would always have to open the side door for me to come in and sit in the back. You're like, nah, bro, you're sitting in the back. So I'm like, all right.
Because you're the smallest one, so I was got to sneak in the back.
I'm like, you know what? It is what it is.
He was just picking on people at stoplights. They looking at us. Yo, beg on this fool. I'm like, Glenn, we just trying to get donuts.
Exactly. Not knowing.
He's going to White Castle. That's all.
Yeah. So then not too long after that, it was through our online gaming circles on Xbox that I met Dre. And basically was just like playing games with each other. And yeah, like father figure of the group, that definitely sticks. He's the one that was always kind of putting people in the corner when they acting up. It's like, yo, you shouldn't do that. So it's
telling you to chill when I can see that you are clearly trolling Chunky, and Chunky doesn't realize that you're trolling him. There was some argument. I can't even remember what it doesn't even matter why you bring it up, but it was just the funniest thing because I knew that Glenn was doing it, and I told Chunky, I said, Chunky, he's just saying this to get under your skin, and he was not listening to me. And Glenn just kept on just saying little things. I think like Chunky like ended up turning off his Xbox and the crazy. I was like, Glenn, you just had to keep going. And he was like, what? Like he was like, what was I doing?
He took it a step too far. I remember that night, like he was saying some outside the box stuff. I'm like, yo, stop. And he's like, no, F that. And he said something, and it was just like, I'm not even going to stay here and be mad. I'm just logging off. Like,
Well, okay, so if you remember the shout out to rest in peace Charlie Murphy, the Dave Chappelle skit where Charlie Murphy is talking about Rick James. Glenn is a habitual line stepper. He is there's that one scene, that one really famous scene that Glenn is the habitual line stepper. He will see the line, and if he knows who it is, because I feel like he wouldn't do that with anyone else. He just knows that Chunky is the one. No, like, okay, so D Black, you're not really gonna give him the, like, you'll just be like, all right, whatever, right? Like, you'll just be quick to just be like, oh, whatever, right? But he knows Chunky's not gonna let it go, and he's not gonna let it go. I feel like between you and us, we're just gonna be like, all right, whatever.
but he
man.
wouldn't
Like,
do it in
he's
person though.
being
That's the
crazy.
funniest thing. Like, he doesn't do this in person because he'll see the rage in my face. He'll be like, all right, I'm done. All right, we good now, right?
That's
But,
the
like,
benefit of
online
Talk to you real quick.
or like in WhatsApp, like straight going in, and I'm just seeing red.
Flossie's a digital troll. He just loves it.
Bro, I feel like we should exercise all our muscles, and online muscle is one of them.
I like to flex online.
Like, next time when I
Like,
see you, I'm just gonna bend you in half.
Oh wow.
Fine. Pause.
Oh my God.
In the worst way possible.
Okay, that makes it even worse. Back to Dre. So he's basically facilitated and involuntary moderator to all of our back and forth discussions and arguments and stuff like that. And definitely is overall cool dude. First time I ever met him was, of course, at the bachelor party, and definitely he's a fellow creative, very talented guy. So yeah, it's been an honor meeting him, of course. And just to kind of see, like, once you hear, okay, this is Chunky's fams, dang, like, how's all his fams gonna be? So it's like, take him compared to Chunky, they're like complete opposites, other than the fact they both mad tall. So
Tall.
and then other than that, lastly, I met Francis at the bachelor party as well. I was also given the same description of him, that he kind of resembles me in a sense of like the turnout party about business and things like that. So it was definitely true. Went to Montreal, where we had our little bachelor party for the homie D Black, and yeah, he definitely fit that description. Cool guy, glad I met him.
Yeah, we had a
hard
good
worker.
time, bro. We
We all
a
had
great
bonding
time.
moments there. Montreal's the second home. You know what I mean?
Big facts.
What happens in Montreal?
Montreal.
Stays in Montreal.
I mean, can you tell me what happened, please?
No.
You weren't there. My bad. Sorry.
It'll all be alleged.
Damn.
A lot
It'll all
of
be alleged.
Listen, there's two ways I can get out of you. Either you tell me or I force you.
all
Oh wow. Okay.
Your
all
option.
PG, all PG
Your option.
fun, eating a lot of poutine and
Listen,
Yeah.
I will
listening
find
to
out.
music and-
Francis is my target. I'll see you later.
Wow. Okay. I'm ready.
Took part in a lot of legal activities there. I'll say that.
But so I don't know what the next thing, but I did kind of want to just tell this one story about how, like, we almost lost. I almost lost my relationship with Dre.
Oh,
Dre,
yeah.
I know you heard. Because it's funny, and it's funny because, like, they say, show me your closest friends, and then I can tell you who you are. And it feels like everybody that I'm like associated with, like, they kind of represent little, like, I guess little mirrors of different parts of me, right? Because like Chunky, is off the wall and unfiltered, and then Selassie's like super eclectic, and then my Dre is funny because he does have that kind of mentorship role, and then me and my cousin we can be goofy, we can be serious, we can be super professional. So it's like I kind of resonate with everybody. But it's funny though, because like my relationship with Dre, almost lost it. I almost lost my relationship with Dre because I thought, cause I was too much being like Selassie. So Dre's original
Only
name
one.
online was, I hope you don't mind me telling the story, Dre.
Oh, it's okay.
Was
Too late now.
well, too late. Hope you don't
The podcast
mind telling me.
agreement?
Was was it untrue? Was it
Unfinished truth.
Unfinished truth. And I was just like, it's just something about that just really irked me. And I forgot what it was, but he just like, he said something to me where everybody was kind of just throwing jokes at each other. And it's funny because I'm typically quiet, but if you throw jokes at me, I always throw back more. And I forget, Dre said something, and it wasn't really even anything that serious, but I just used it as an opportunity to be like, if you don't be quiet with your unfinished truth, with your half-eaten sandwich, untied shoelaces, and I just kept doing it every single time to the point where this man changed his gamer tag.
Not true. Not true.
Spending $45 on game attacks.
That's how much it costs to change a game attack?
It was like $60.
No, I think it was only like $10 when I did it.
Oh, really?
I thought you
Or
can't just
remember,
go
we found out that
to edit and change
So
your
he
name.
did it.
No, you have to pay for
He
it.
said, but you
Gotta pay for it.
Oh, golly.
I remember
I was
D-Black
like,
changed
I'm like, I
his.
really just took my man's name. I was telling Chunky, I was like, damn, he's gonna hate me, bro.
Nah, he was so bad
person.
because like it would be me and D-Black in like a chat and like no one be in yet. He's like, yo, where's unfinished sandwich at? I'm like, and Jay would get in. What's up, untied shoelaces?
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
I totally didn't take it as anything. I mean, if anyone knows how, I mean, obviously when you guys start to listen to this podcast, you're gonna hear that obviously we're always making fun of anyone. Anyone can get, joked on at any moment. So that's what I thought I was doing. I recently found this out a couple months ago that like me and D-Black's friendship was this close to not happening from me just joking. So I thought we was just joking. I mean, I still kind of stand behind that gamer tag. Gamer tag was kind of fire. Unfinished truth, man. I liked it.
That is a fire. That is a fire
Always
name,
be
bro.
in search of the truth.
Francis, stop backing him up because
I second that.
the day
But
came where D-Black was
second
just
that.
like, what does unfinished truth mean? And I don't remember.
Ask that
I don't
question.
remember what was said. All I remember is that D-Black just kept hounding you afterwards. You probably had like a good reason why. He was like, "Oh, okay, thanks, unfinished sandwich."
Yeah, like I just looked at it as like a dad joke to me. It was like unfinished sandwich, unfinished, so I thought it was funny, but no, I honestly just changed my name because I was just tired of whenever I was in parties, people were like, oh, what's your name? Like, trying to read or whatever. And I was like, let me just come up with something that's like super simple, whatever. So Dre Su Padre was the one I came up with, but I assure you, it had nothing to do with
it was just the time was so
harassment.
close, and I was like, "Damn!"
You know what it comes down to, right? I don't think Dre knew that D-Black had like the hiking championship belt of the world. You know what I mean? Like,
does he have a championship belt?
Don't come for it. Don't come for it.
I mean, we could go, but I don't know.
Every crew has that one person or one or two people that you just don't mess with them because their height game is just too good. And that's where I got some of my height game from because I used to watch this dude make fun of everybody. Like,
I don't think you have a height game. I just think you just say something that's just so unconventional where people get frustrated and then like, oh, you're frustrated? Keep saying that same thing. This makes no sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, to him, hike means troll. Hike and troll.
I think those are two different things.
Do people say hike anymore? Nah, they just say trolling now, right? So I'm just showing my age.
What are you, 40?
Look like 40 something.
My hiking is about to go to the mountains or something.
Was hiking on.
Yeah,
That's the first thing I thought of. Was like, I've never seen D-Black hike before, so okay.
Troll game. D-Black's troll game was just, unparalleled. Like, you would lose to him in a game. The loss wasn't enough. You had to
No. I have a story for you that like
that's true though. I'll let you
hear about you trash, you garbage, you trash.
But there's one way to get underneath his skin, which was super funny, and that ended our relationship for an entire year.
Oh, the Madden.
Because he's sitting there. So like Madden came, what was it? Madden 10 or Madden 11?
I don't even remember. I just thought I was the god of Madden.
So we're playing Madden. And like for a man who's played football majority of his life, I know nothing about football. Except I like the Jaguars. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna pick this team. Reach on you. I don't care.
Jaguars.
I figured out
sounds like a good team.
That
Hey, wait, pause. At the time when he chose the Jaguars, right? I don't know anybody who else knows football, but Maurice Jones-Drew was the running back on the Jaguars at the time. They were a terrible team, but Maurice Jones-Drew was unstoppable.
So
and I'm a Bengals fan, so I always use the Bengals. And everybody know the history of the Bengals. They've always been trash.
So I figured it out. I cracked the code. Just run dive. 4th and 10, dive. First down. 4th and 15, dive. First down. So we're going back at it, right? And I'm just popping off at him. And he's just getting like irritated. Well, what you gonna do? You can't stop it. You can't stop it. And like he's visibly mad. This man, it was like either the second or the beginning of the third quarter, puts the controller down, walks out. And I didn't see him until a year later.
That's hilarious.
So he took his basketball and went home. Is what you're saying?
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Didn't return my
Nah,
phone
man, Prince
calls.
Maurice
Didn't
was
return my
so
text
broken.
messages.
He just could do whatever the hell he wants. I got like 12 in the box. He's just still running the ball.
Goal line defense, dive.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's the only time I've been able to successfully get underneath his skin, and it wasn't intentional. So
I stopped playing Madden after that, though. That was the last time I
ever played Madden again. It was just
you literally end this man's career.
it was
Jeez.
unintentional. I was just like, you don't even know nothing about football. I'm like, but I know dive works.
You don't even know nothing how to play it. He know the players. He just
Why don't you pass the ball? I would set up like a passing offense and then still run dive.
And that makes it worse because you're just like, yo, this dude doesn't even know how to play. You don't even know the rules of
And
the
that's
game.
why I was
He's
like,
No, I know how to play my position, and that's all that mattered to me.
Wow.
a post, a skinny, a fade. That's it.
I guess
Remember that coach in high school?
Oh, yeah. That's a skinny, not a post.
Like it's the
what?
same thing. But God forbid if I wouldn't catch it, I always caught it and just ran whoever over.
So a post and a skinny are very similar routes. They go in the same direction and they're off by like what, 5 yards maybe?
It's
If
just the
even,
angle you take.
Slight
you
is a
just
very
cut in.
slight angle. But this coach used to always give us a hard time between a post and a skinny.
I mean, I would catch the ball, find whoever's like in the open field. It'll be me and one defender to score a touchdown. I will find that one defender so I can hit them.
like, dang.
Looking for contact.
So I guess speaking on that matter, then I'd like to hear from the rest of the panel. Is there a story or a situation that arose, I guess, between you or someone else on the podcast that kind of solidified your friendship, or just like the beginning journey, like, yo, this is my dude right here. We survived this. Yo, this is my dude. Anybody got a story like that for the people?
Yo. So at the R, right?
Oh gosh.
You had to pay for parking. And I wasn't about that life. So when I had my act, I gave my keys to D-Black. I was like, yo, like, just hold the keys. If I need to get picked up, can you pick me up? He was like, yeah, I got you. And our relationship was solidified over something completely different that scared the hell out of me. But so I called this man. I was like, yo, can you pick me up? Like, nah, man, I got stuff to do. I come out of class, and what was that Lloyd song? I forget the name of it. It was Lloyd and Lil Wayne.
Slow down.
No, like all I really want is to back it up. If you wait on it, if it's all right.
Oh, get it, shorty.
Yeah.
Shorty.
That was my jam.
So I hear
that
Get
was a
It
classic
Shorty
right there.
coming out of the parking deck, right? I'm like, yo, like I'm bumping out or whatever. And I see my car pull out. And I look at him and he looks at me like, oh shit. And he pulls off. Wow. And he stops at a stop sign. I run up and I catch up to him like, yo, WTF, what are you doing? He's like, I didn't see you. What?
Wow.
Literally made eye contact.
So he's in your ride, bumping Lloyd, and he passes you on the way.
Just drive faster.
I was parking his car at my lot because we had the free parking at the spot, and I was running late for class. So I was just trying to be
using up my gas, bumping my music, pimping it like it's his ride. I'm just like, yo. But I mean, things were great from there. Saved me from a lot of trouble with situations.
I did drive you around with the cast, bro.
So every time I called you, man, friendship sucks. I ain't trying to pick you up. I'm like, you have my keys. There's money in the car for gas. All you have to do is come get me. That's it. Yeah, man. I'm trying to take a nap right now. I'm like, I just want to go get groceries. Yeah, I'm tired. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yo, legit though. It don't matter. It doesn't matter how close you are. Picking somebody up it's hard, man.
You can call me, like, you can ask me, like, he's called me to paint an entire house the day before.
Yeah.
I grab the tarp, I get in the car, and I come down in the middle of the night and paint the entire house.
Bro,
and then leave the next day.
No, I'm just saying, like, picking somebody up consistently, eventually, be like,
picked up Glenn from Willie P. Not a problem. That's just not like, I'm the dude. If you need something, you will always call me, and I will, without a doubt, show up.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about Slots. I mean, Chunky. I could just literally call him with a task and be like, "Here, handle that." And he'd be like, "All right, bet."
Where's the puff puff, huh?
This man was working for Puff Puff for some.
I'll pay your pop-ups.
But nah, I feel you. Like there were some times where I had to pick up coworkers and stuff. Like I remember I had one colleague that for some reason just didn't have a car. I mean, a lot of people still don't have cars this day, but you know, it was a little bit of an inconvenience to be like, oh, I gotta drive all the way here, pick you up. He's like, yo, I can't wait for you to get a car, bro. Like real
Nah,
talk.
I mean, you trying to help me out, but I was just being lazy. I just didn't want to pick this man.
That's the point. That's the point. It's been lazy.
I'm gonna be
No,
real.
but he outright said it though. He was like, I don't want to pick you up. I don't know why you gave me your keys because I don't like you.
And I was like, "You gotta catch the bus. Come over here. Come get your car."
It was just being a dick at that point.
And then he was like, yo, let's go out somewhere. I'm just like, you made me drive, like you made me catch the bus 4 campuses over to get my car, drive up the hill, pick you up, and then take you out to get something to eat. And my dumb ass was like, okay. I still took him out.
That's funny.
But didn't you have like another situation with the car too?
Oh,
We'll bet that one.
man, we have a lot of situations with the car.
That's funny, man.
But what about you, Dre? Is there any significant moment, any particular incident that happened that said, yo, these are my dudes right here? Like I mess with them.
I don't know if it was necessarily any one particular thing, to be honest with you. I think I would say that obviously I have a lot of, other friends and family that I'm really close to, but I know that that if there's anything I ever need from anyone, whether it's just to talk on the phone, whether it's if I need $5 from someone, I know that everybody on this call I know is always there for me. I definitely think there's been times where with probably almost everyone have had, phone calls where either we're kind of venting to each other about, stuff that's going on in our lives, or one person being the emotional support for the other person, or vice versa. So I don't know if I have a particular story, but I do know that I do know that in any of those times where stuff's gone on with me personally, I know that I've always been able to kind of reach out to the group and get the support that either I needed or maybe I didn't know that I needed, but I got it and was so thankful. So I don't have a particular thing, but I have a lot of little small stories.
What about you, Francis?
I guess one of my favorite story with my cousin that I think I've shared this before is, coming from Africa, from Nigeria, straight up the boat. Most people say, I was 12 years old. I was, trying to navigate through, the Nigerian culture and trying to adapt to the U.S. American culture, and just kind of living in New Jersey too. We were living in, the neighborhood we lived in was rough. So, I was like, I got thrown in real early, coming into the U.S. So like one of the first word that I learned was yo. And I always talked about this. I always kind of talk about this because my cousin always laughed. He always laughed at me because, I really kind of adapt to the American culture right away. And that's kind of really how I am. I try to soak in a lot of information and project what I've learned, to outward. And that's kind of what I did, like every verbiage, every sentence I said, I was like,
word was yo.
Yo, I was like, yo, cuz,
man.
yo, I became the yo man. It was crazy, bro. Like I couldn't go a day without using the word like so many times. And my cousin always like, yo, look at my cousin, man. You're already saying yo. Hey, yo, that, and I still remember that because, I was so young and I looked up to him. So it was like, I was trying to like get validated by him too, in a way, unconsciously without even thinking about it, So because you look up to him and you wanted to get that, like, okay, this is my little cousin, come over here kind of deal, So that was one of my favorite moments growing up in New Jersey. And obviously with the rest of the group, it's really just, I feel like the group chat did it for me. Like outside of it's the photo shoot we had in Montreal was hilarious.
That was dope.
That was fire. Actually, that was also such a bonding bonding moment. I remember I got home and my wife was like, "Oh my God, those are great pictures." I was like, "Yeah, we had a great time in Montreal." Like, and
fire.
overall, just the community that we created just within the group. Just some of the conversation we had. Drake kind of alludes to this as well. Just we go deep, man, and that's really what we hope to capture on the podcast as well. Really have those tough conversation, kind of lay it on the table and kind of just talk about those tough conversation. And yeah, I'll kind of leave it at that.
All right, bet. And yeah, like one of the things I distinctly remember from that photo shoot was just how hot it was in that room.
Oh my God, that was so hot. She need an air conditioner. She need fans. She need everything. She needed.
I was like, trying so hard, and I sweat very easily. I'm trying so hard not to sweat.
Yo, buckets. I had everybody bring out the blazers and everything like that, and it was just like, yo, it's straight up Africa up in here, bro.
And we had the face masks too. The
the glow in the dark.
They glow in the darks. Yeah, that was fun.
Well,
what?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Francis.
I was gonna say maybe one day we might have to post that on the social media so people can see that, because that was a good time in Montreal.
We gotta do a retake with Chunky though, for real.
Yeah, Chunky was missing action, like I said
with a mask the entire time. But yeah, if you're looking for a dope photographer out there in Montreal and Canada or Quebec, check out Yanissa.x or rfm.ex on Instagram. She was a great photographer. She hooked it up, took some great photos. And yeah, definitely down the line, we can definitely post those on Instagram on the page, so y'all can check them out.
She might have some better cooling system by now.
Yeah. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that I will say is, Glenn is probably if ever not. I don't want to necessarily volunteer his services to anyone, but definitely I would say that whole trip, he made it really easy to just show up and just have fun. Basically, he had almost everything planned. We did a lot of stuff that we would have never done. Talking about photo shoots, I'm a for real introvert. I hate taking photos, so to have to take like pose photos was like one of those things that like when he mentioned that we were gonna do it, I didn't want to like be honest and be like, I do not want to do this, but like obviously I wanted to be, I wanted to be. I didn't want to be that guy like, I don't want to take no photos or whatever, but like it was one of those things where once we did it and was there, it was fun, but it was never something that I would have like volunteered or put on a list of like, if he asked us, if he put a list of all the things we want to do, that would have been the one thing that I would have said, I do not want to do that. Let's skip this.
That it was supposed to be an hour, and how long were we in there for? Like 2-3 hours.
First, it was like finding the place first.
Oh
like,
my God, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of like in a weird stretch. And then the other thing that we did was we did like one of those like boat things, like again, not something. Yeah, I would have never like went on one of those like boats that like took you in the water, like
the water one.
Yeah, there was like a part where we were out there on the water, and I'm like, if this boat flips over, like we're gonna die, like we're all dead, So just that whole trip was kind of full of those type of things, and was really kind of thankful that Glenn like really planned everything down to the T of he found a cool Airbnb, he planned everything. So that's the one thing I really knew that if ever I need something planned, Glenn is the guy, man. He had literally absolutely everything planned for us. We're literally all we needed to do was just wake up and be ready for the day. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, big shout out to Glenn for that.
Nah, no doubt. And anybody wants to check it out, once again, the photographer was Yanissa. You can check her out at rfm.ex on Instagram. And the boat trip that we went on was at the Lachine Rapids. And I'm like, yo, I almost crapped myself on that boat ride, but
yeah,
it would have been well worth
some
it.
Serious air, bro.
Yo, that was fun though. That was
my little scrawny behind will fly out of this damn boat.
Yeah, I don't know how the water, like literally the water was up to our calves and then would go away. So I don't understand how I'm no engineer, but it was just like it was just one of those things where I couldn't understand how the water got out of the boat quickly, but it wasn't just getting in on its own. So like it was just like one of those things where Yeah, again, if someone had told me we were gonna do it, I probably would have been like, nah, I don't want to do it. But I'm really glad that Glenn booked those
Facts.
things. So it was a lot of fun.
Glad y'all enjoyed. But I guess as far as my story to my situations, I kind of solidified everyone. Definitely the bachelor party was one of them. Really just got a moment to put, faces to names and to voices and really see people in person because, it's always different in person. And as far as D, I put him through the ringer for real. I'm not even gonna front. And, I was just I would say most of that is just attributed to upbringing, a lot of the time, especially as a youth, growing up in New York. It's kind of yo, you don't really know how to trust anybody. So it was just this idea of always kind of being on your own, relying on yourself, not necessarily doing other people dirty, but just relying on yourself to get a lot done. So the idea of building and solidifying friendships and always being on the move was always kind of hard for me to do as a person. So it was just kind of accepting people and welcoming them in was tough. But I would say one thing about D-Black, man, he has the fortitude of a saint, bro. Patience, all that. I don't know how he does it, but definitely those growing up experience led to that. And despite the in and outs that, Chunky and I have had, always, been able to come back and square up. So
Happy Patty, that was y'all.
yeah, definitely. When
Breaking bread.
we bond. You know what I mean?
That was an interesting summer because it was just because he lived what, maybe 10
minutes away
from me.
15
Yeah.
minutes.
And then I'll hit him up yo, we're going to the gym, we'll lift, all right, we about to go to Rite Aid, get some Krabby Patties, and we'll sit at the house and play. I don't like fighting video games. Hate it. But Glenn's all right, we about to play some fighting video games. I'm like, why?
Some game that nobody's heard of.
Why not? Oh man,
no English in it.
This is Tinkle Sprinkle Dinkle Linkle. I'm like, what is this? It is all in Japanese.
Press this to punch.
All right, this to punch, this to pause. Let's go. And this man would come out with an 80-piece combo. I'm just like, why?
So just what it was?
Death.
It was yo, I got so used to with D, he'd be nah, I don't need to learn how to play. Let's just play. So I'm just all right, you just want to play? Let's play. So 5 seconds later, uppercut, sure you can.
Man, and he'd be yo, did you read the tutorial? Nah, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Glenn will play a game for 12 hours on his own. And oh, yo, everyone download this game. And then he starts busting everyone's ass in the game. And then when you ask him how to do stuff, he's like, read the tutorial.
Yeah. The tutorial be 9 hours long.
Just tell me the buttons to press. Why is it so hard?
I had to do this for 12 hours.
It wasn't an argument with me, but it was arguing with someone else where they kept on trying to ask him. Yeah, it was. He was asking him for it. And then instead of him telling you, oh, press B or you press RB or whatever, he's like, nah, read the tutorial. And it's how am I going to read the tutorial if we playing the game?
I'm new to the game too. I only got 20 hours in.
You can see how many hours someone has on the game. And Glenn would have the most obscene amount of hours and start playing. Man, you should sit down and play the tutorials. I don't have time for this. You're telling us to play this today.
We're playing now. Yeah, just tell me the buttons now. He's like, nah.
It all comes down to, teach a man how to fish. Because, I give you this one fish. You're going to be like, yo, bro, how you do that then? I'm like,
let one of us get good at it, you quit. You're done playing that game.
That's not true. Only game I've ever quit was FIFA. That's because it was not fun.
FIFA got worse. Oh, I remember too. You and D-Back would play FIFA all the time, and I would get so upset. Oh, let's get online and play. What y'all got? FIFA? I'm like, I don't have FIFA. Oh well, we ain't playing with you then.
World Cup.
They would just play the game. So I pick up World Cup, and I don't know anything about soccer. Did not learn it. I was just all right. I just run in a straight line, push everybody out the way, and strike. That pissed Glenn off. That pissed D-Black off. You're not even doing any moves. I was like, I'm just trying to win.
Oh my god,
that's crazy. So all right, let's get back into the podcast. How did the idea for the podcast come about? How did it originate? Where was the influence?
Well, with me, I don't know. So I guess I could kind of just hop in on that part. I don't know. So I've always kind of wanted to do something kind of like a give back to the community, give back to, other people that I feel like maybe I could connect with. And, I feel like there's a lot of Nigerian voices, but it's not necessarily everybody who I feel like it's either as an African, you're either Nigerian or you're not. And, there's not a lot of people that truly get that, kind of in the middle where, because because I mean I feel like I get a hard time within the Nigerian community just because of the fact I don't necessarily fluently speak Nigerian, Yoruba, but I understand Yoruba, or that when I do try to speak, it's kind of like this thing. But it just kind of felt like, you know what, my unique story, I feel like I could connect with other people, and maybe not just even on the African tip, you know, on an African American tip, and you know, and I feel like the conversations that we end up having in the WhatsApp chats and just in general over the phone and benefiting and supporting each other, that this is something that can probably help somebody else, right? I originally like talked to Glenn about it because I thought I was like, oh, Glenn's, you know, he has a funny personality and I can be kind of more mellow sometimes. So I was like, oh, we can kind of balance each other out, right? And then we kind of start bringing it up in the group chat, and then start realizing like everybody has like their own unique background, unique story, something unique that they can provide to, you know, other people kind of growing up, or even, you know, people older than us that, you know, didn't get the opportunity to kind of really explore who they really are, right? That's what kind of brought all this together. I'm just kind of more of the conceptual guy, so I just kind of come up with an idea. Even kind of like we went to Japan, and I was like, "Hey, let's go to Japan," and then I just gave it to Selassie, and then Selassie kind of builds it out. So,
That was a great trip.
What'd you say?
That was a great trip.
That was a great trip. You made it a great trip. I mean, again, plug in at Selassie for all your planning, reservations, and needs. But,
Man.
yeah, but that's what kind of, I mean, it kind of came to this. I didn't really think it would be like as kind of fleshed out as it is. And I mean, I'm just kind of glad that I get the opportunity to kind of talk with these esteemed gentlemen, you know, on a regular basis. And you guys get a little bit of a sneak peek into kind of like our world and the kind of things we discuss. So.
All right, Francis, let's hear your take.
Yeah, so like, yeah, the podcast thing was, I mean, like my cousin said, I remember when when you guys initially posted it in the group chat. And for me, you know, I love content. I love listening to podcasts on Spotify, love YouTube videos, and constantly just kind of learning different things. So, you know, and often I've, you know, thought about what would it be like being on the other side of it. And, you know, some of my friends, we've actually talked about it. And, but you know how we are, sometimes we talk, but nothing comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that conversation kind of came up in that group chat, and actually we were talking about a few things, and that was one of the things that I really loved about our group chat, because we were really talking about doing different things and maybe even investing in different like ideas of stuff we were kind of like talking about. So when the podcast came up, I was like, oh, I'm down. Like I'm down for sure. You know, like especially like just getting the chance to know a lot, you know, all you guys, and I was like, yeah, I can't pass this up. So for me, it was really, you know, like my cousin said, it's like, you know, I feel like, you know, we all like have our own experience, and for real, like that was one of the struggle I had, because I was, you know, dealing with self-doubt and stuff like that, and you know, I had to kind of dig deep, and I was like, okay, this is really a good opportunity to like really grow and challenge myself and do things that, even though I'm very extroverted, you know, some things doesn't come very natural to me. So so this was a good opportunity for me to really kind of dive into and step into something else, something new and different. So I'm just grateful to be part of the team and kind of grow together and grow this community that we kind of aiming for. So
yeah, definitely shout outs to D Black in that regard, because you know he definitely came up, you know, with the idea, and you know I was probably just the person that just ran with it and said, you know what, bet we're gonna do this, let's do it now, and let's assemble and let's get this together. Well, oh, we got a point from Chunky.
That's not the way I remember it. So how I remember it was that we talked about it, and then we were going to do like a podcast on like whatever we're experts on, right? I think Francis was talking about doing a podcast about
real
real estate.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, man, let's take this offline. Let's do this. No, I ain't ready. Like, what you mean you not ready? Let's do this next week. Well, I pushed it in the sense like if everyone knows me in the group, like I'm all about it. All right, we're gonna play a game. Let's do a warm-up first. Fuck a warm-up. We playing. That's it. Like I don't need practice. Let's just hop in.
Ranked.
Man, you sound like Iverson. Practice? We talked about
It
practice.
was
about
make it
practice.
happen.
Basically.
Not to take
Nah.
anything from you, Glenn, you structured a lot, and that's what put it together. But my thing was, I was just like, why are we waiting to do something and talk about it instead of just making it happen? Either we fail doing it, which is completely okay, we figure it out, which is completely still fine, or we just don't do it. So don't pitch something to me that you're like, oh, I'm all about it, and I say, all right, let's hit the go button. You're just like, I wasn't really serious. So it's just like, I'll just do it by myself. But everything worked out the way it's supposed to. So that's how I saw it. I can be 1,000% wrong with 1,000% margin of error being correct. So I'm correct.
That's definitely a good point. Because definitely, yeah, I was gonna add in there that you were more or less the enforcer there, and just trying to like people. There's usually the issue with anything, right? Any business prospect or any idea, everyone's always ready to do it when it doesn't cost anything, right? But then the moment you got to put a little bit of elbow grease in, or you got to put a little sweat in, or you got to drop a little bread on it, that's when people are like, oh, hold up, I didn't know we could do all this. So it's just like definitely having someone like Chunky in that regard to kind of push people, regardless if they knew what they was getting into or not. It's kind of like definitely was like the glue for them to be like, all right, if you're gonna do this, you gotta be for real about it. And I know in that sense, I'm not really good at checking people from the front. I like to see how people work, get the thing, and then if I see like, all right, this may not be too good, hold up, then I just have to pull them to the side, and stun them. But other than that, yeah, off the rip, Chunky was just like, yo, we gotta do this now. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. And yeah, that's another reason why how it got together.
And now we're doing it now.
Yeah,
We're
so
here.
I mean, started off as like a Corona 2020 group chat just to check on each other, and then just kind of turned into its own, morphed into its own thing.
Yeah.
We lost a couple soldiers along the way too, but
we lost a member.
It was coming.
we lost a soldier on the way.
Well, thanks, Chunky.
No man left behind.
Hey, if you ain't about it, you ain't about it. So
Yo,
like
I
Glenn
still
said,
remember.
Some casualties of war, bro.
I lead from the front, not from the back, and it's just like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be a part of the action because I can't tell you what to do if I've never experienced it. So to me, it's just like don't waste my time because I value time, so I value everyone else's time. So if I'm saying I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Like going back before, if you call me to go do something, I'm like, okay, I'm there. Send me the location, send me the time you want me to be there. I'll arrive a couple of minutes early just to sit there and shoot the breeze or try to figure out the rest of the situation. If you ain't about it, get out of my face. Just don't waste my time. That's just it. Because on the latter end of it, you start to bring everybody down. And if you don't see it up front, it's going to hurt us at the end. And that's one thing that's helpful but hurtful at the same time, because I know I rubbed everyone in the group the wrong way being like this. I come off the top ropes just not caring. And it's just like, yo, what is wrong with you? I'm just like, I'm about to do this. And it's just like, you need to sit down. It's like, I'm not sitting down for nobody. Like, you need to sit down. Like, no. 10 minutes later, okay, I guess I'll sit down.
No, but I feel like that's such it brings different strength to the team because like you said, like you enforce. And one thing I do love about like I'm trying to like not use this real name, but Glenn, but it's really just kind of how organized he is. He really knows how to kind of like set things from A to Z. Like it's really cool, and I really admire that.
Oh, I appreciate it, Francis.
Yeah, I mean, real talk.
I'm surprised
bro.
it wasn't a statement like a no statement after that. Like you've been doing this entire podcast.
I'm saving them. I'm saving them for you.
but that was not. I admire the guy, man. The guy is amazing. Come on.
All right, so let's go to our next question. I'll leave this one to Dre. What were some of your concerns with starting a podcast? I think it was fair to say podcasting, except for everyone except Dre, was fairly new to everyone else. But what were some of your concerns, just knowing your experience with podcasts and coming into this particularly?
Yeah, so I'm basically right now I have just really fortunate enough to have just one client who I'm working with. Basically talked to her about doing a podcast about 6 years ago. And, right from the jump, we had a very serious conversation with her. I'm like, look, to do a podcast, you got to be consistent, right? So in her case, I'm like, you should do a podcast every week, right? And basically worked with her to kind of put everything together, and was just like, look, we have to be consistent no matter what. So that was one of the things that I think I was a little worried about, was just because everyone has a lot of stuff going on. So that was maybe my initial concern, was just, not necessarily if we were going to do it, but just like, hey, are we really going to be able to meet? And it's funny because it actually took us a really long time to even record the first episode. Basically we had to make sure that we all had the same microphones and, that whole thing. And then we kept on pushing it back. And then there was, a lot of fun going back and forth with, Glenn definitely pushing people's buttons and on that. So that was the other thing. But I knew, but basically once we started, I think it took us a long time to get started, but then once we got started, then we really kind of held firm to recording on a set schedule and kind of getting our practices in and stuff like that. But probably prior to when we first did our first recording, which hopefully we'll share a long time away. I'm sure it's going to be, no one's going to be wanting to listen to that really rough recording at the start, but
it's going to get lost somewhere. Trust
me.
Me.
I was only nervous just before we started because we kept on pushing it back, okay, we're going to record on this day. And then like, for some reason we ended up pushing it back. And then something, I think Glenn didn't have his mic yet, or someone didn't have their mic yet. So we were kind of,
that was my cousin.
Like, sorry.
That was Amazon's fault, not my fault.
They got lost.
Kind of, right?
I had to reorder it, so it was Amazon.
No, but you was already late on ordering it at that point too.
He was waiting for a sale.
If I can remember, but we'll blame all the COVID. We'll blame all the people who decided to do a podcast.
It's about to be half off next week.
That was the reason behind it. But it was more just the getting started piece is what worried me at the start. But then kind of once we started, I was like, okay, we actually got something here, and everyone was available. So those fears went away once we actually got into the physical movement of
the groove of it,
getting together.
Yeah, and that credit goes out to Chunky again, because I think there was like one discussion that took place where he was like, nah, now this is all through text, so I'm putting a voice on it. He's like, nah, we gotta do this now. Like, why y'all waiting? We gotta do it now. And by that time, we didn't even know what the hell we was doing. We had no structure, no nothing. He was like, all right, we're just gonna have to do it now.
All caps with exclamation points.
Chunka said, like, let's just start now. We're figuring it out on the way. We're figuring out on the way.
But that's just like it. Like D Black knows it very well, and Dre started to experience it. That's just who I am. Ever since college, like we were just like, all right, there's like 6 parties going on. Like, let's just go to this one. Yeah, but let's calculate. Let's put these numbers together. I'm like, bruh, if you don't like this party, it's still like 9:30, 10 o'clock. We'll just go to the next one, which is one campus over. We'll be fine. And that's like everything that I do. He was like, you don't think about anything. I was like, I do think about it and make a decision, because that's this life experience, right? If you're afraid to do something, you never get to experience what you're doing wrong to make it better later. To me, I just didn't care. I was just like, well, this is the prime time to be wrong and rebound from it. And I kind of carried into like my adult life, which is maybe pretty successful. And I'll thank everyone on this podcast right now for a piece of who I am, even very recently. Everyone has had a piece in my development. So the stuff that I used to do, I don't do anymore. The person I'm becoming is because the help that I had from the group, right? So it's just like, all right, cool. We're going to go out and have, chicken and waffles from this one spot, but Glenn's like, oh, we're going to go to this next spot. I'm like, yo, I'll meet you at the next spot. I'm going to get chicken and waffles from here and still eat again at this next place. I'm always hungry. He's like, whatever. But it's about failing, right? So that's the key to life. You're only as great as your worst failure. So why not just do it? People are going to love you. People are going to hate you. But at least you did it, instead of someone saying that, oh, I wish I would have took that opportunity. I wish I would have did this. Like, I did it. I messed up. I had fun. And I hate this man for it. But guess what? It goes to the book of life.
Facts. And I think you're definitely speaking to the idea of analysis paralysis, where we can kind of before we even get started, we kind of miss opportunities or ideas because we're too busy analyzing all the ins and outs, when the goal is, not to be perfect, but, to put things into practice and actually get started. So yeah, definitely. It does help to have a plan, but at some point you got to enact that plan. So definitely. I would say the last question then, before we get into our closing thoughts, let's talk about, I guess, essentially, what tips would you guys have for any people interested in starting a podcast? I guess it's basically looking at some of the challenges that we dealt with and some of the concerns we had and how we got over them. Are there any tips or pieces of advice you would give to people looking to start a podcast?
I would say contract Selassie for your project management part, contract Dre for your technical issues, contract Chunky and Francis for your content, and don't contract me because I'm not really that useful. No, but seriously, I think, just something that you have to be, truly dedicated to, and something you really gotta want to do. Obviously, taking time out of your day to kind of present your message to the world, right? But then I think the main thing on top of everything is just being consistent. So that way you can, have a consistent following. People are kind of expecting things on a specific time frame. So yeah, consistency. But I would say also, sorry, I'm probably stealing somebody else's thing, but then having like a good supporting cast makes it really, really helpful. Makes things a lot easier. Because I know there's no way I could do this by myself. And I'm pretty sure nobody would want to hear a whole bunch of me just rambling. So outside of Chunky, I guess Chunky wouldn't mind.
Tell me that one more time. That feels so good to my ears.
What is that thing called? Is it? I hope I really don't say this wrong, but what's the thing when they whisper in the mic and they like?
It's ASMR.
ASM, yeah. So,
ASMR, yeah.
ASMR, yeah. Maybe I could be an ASMR guy. Chunky don't know nothing about that.
I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah, ASMR gets a little weird. There's basically
it does. I didn't know that. I always see.
Yeah. No, there's also a sexual component to it as well.
Hold up.
Why is everything?
Hold up.
I thought it was just basically supposed to be like.
No, some of it is people just whispering in the mic. So it's like, hey Chunky, how you doing?
Wait. What is this? We got to hear about this.
ASMR is like a thing. So it goes from like that to like people eating, and then there's definitely like a sexual porn category of ASMR. I thought it was just
people listening to rainfall and.
Like, no, ASMR. I guess just like with anything in the world, right? There's always the wide range of it, but yeah, some of it is just.
Is there like a rating for a podcast? I think we just shifted into like a rated R podcast.
maybe.
Said porn.
Yeah, no, there definitely is for those who indulge in adult content, there is an ASMR component to that, but yeah, if you go on like YouTube or whatever, just type in ASMR. It's a big category. Yeah, there's just like this random thing where I guess people like to hear people whispering, or it's normally people whispering and saying really soft things. In
no kink shaming, but just
no kink. Yeah, if that's your thing, that's as long as it's legal and above board, whatever.
Like, let's get on this ASMR, babe.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get D Black set up with a ASMR YouTube channel.
That's funny.
Welcome to watching me play Apex Legends.
Your sexy Niger man. So what about you, Francis? Any tips for the people on getting a podcast started based on your experience?
No, I think one thing that I found like that's really helped is having the technical, like having Dre on the team, because I think he really covers a spectrum of needs on the team that I'm really grateful for, just and the experience that he also brings to the team. So so if you are thinking about starting a podcast, I think definitely have to do your research first and kind of know what you really want to get out of it, and some of the needs as far as tools and equipments and stuff like that. And because I think some of those stuff may require, you maybe taking a like maybe taking some courses or just watching YouTube videos on how to kind of process through those stuff. And because I learned trying to just do a simple graphic on Canvas how hard it is, even though like I work in IT, but like this is out of my element. So it's really like something simple. I'm sure it took Dre probably 2 seconds to do. It took me hours just sitting there trying to like play with different angles and stuff like that. So you obviously have to have time to dedicate to it. You have to be consistent, and you just have to like just have to keep going. And even if it fails, you have to can start over. So so that is my 2 cents.
All right.
I felt like
Frankie.
20 cents. It was pretty good.
The gift that
A
keeps
few
on
cents.
Fucking do
giving.
it. That's it.
Hey,
That's just my mindset. For all you kings, queens, princesses, and princes, and whatever you want to call yourself, if you have an idea, just go chase it. If you want to do a podcast, there's someone out there that's going to listen to you. So do your research without a doubt. Read the tutorial, and just figure it out. Like you're going to be successful in your own right. With that, do not compete with us because we'll destroy you.
Yeah, you just trying to Ultron everybody.
Jeez.
Just pretty much just Thanos.
Thanos that joint. Dang.
I'm like for real. Like I really don't mind. I want people to do what's in their heart and what they're meant to do. Right. So you can go out there, say whatever you want to say, how you want to say it. My firmest belief that people are going to love you and hate you no matter what you do. So just do it. Just accept failure. I know as human beings, we kind of concentrate on what we look like if we make mistakes. But I really don't know anyone in this world that has been perfect. I'm not a religious person. The only person that I've read and known about is Jesus Christ, who's been perfect. Other than that, I don't know any other being on earth that has done anything flawlessly. So it's okay to mess up. It's okay to fail and just push through it. Build yourself a network. If you don't have people you can talk to, I'm pretty sure you do have people you can talk to. There's someone out there to speak to you about things. So if you have any questions, simple Google search, it'll give you the answer, and best of luck. And we'll see you out there in the podcast world.
facts. And I guess like to wrap it up on my end, as far as tips, like if you aren't lucky enough to have people as great as the crew that I have, then honestly, I would say go to thegoldstandard.com and pick yourself up the podcast launch kit. Helped us definitely helped us out a lot as far as just reading about, hey, this is what goes into a podcast. You can just get like a general idea. And I guess consider that your tuition tax. But definitely shout out to the Gold Standard and Lene. That was an excellent podcast launch kit that we read. To keep kind of giving an idea of what's required to start a podcast, right? And I would say the entry space or the bar to entry is very low. It's not really a lot of costs up front or nothing that's crazy. So definitely probably one of the easiest routes to get into if you want to reach the public as quickly as possible or in a large scale of people. And it doesn't really cost as much as you would think. And especially you have someone to split those costs with. So a lot of the things that you have at home to get started, you'll actually have. You don't need to make that many equipment purchases, I would say, depending on the kind of quality you're going for. But other than that, just be original, be yourself, and that's definitely the best way to enter your podcast, have an idea of what you want to talk about, and do the research needed. And, as long as you don't consider yourself an expert on anything, seems like you're pretty okay. Unless you are a legit expert. But other than that, it's definitely a great way of entry, and we found it therapeutic for us in a sense to really look past some of the issues of 2020 as we're now here in 2021. And as of the date that this is released, it will officially be Black History Month. So happy Black History Month to all y'all as well out there, all our POCs and African Americans and people all over the diaspora. Other than that, we'll save this part for closing comments, closing thoughts from the panel. Anything you'd like to give to the people before we head out?
I'd like to just say thank you if you've made it to this part, that you've stuck around. Appreciate you being kind of one of the first people to kind of listen to this podcast. This is something that we're really excited about. I think other than, you know, I know Glenn touched on this as kind of it being kind of therapeutic for us, but, you know, we're hoping that, you know, in some ways that, you know, maybe this is going to be helpful to more than just us, right? You know, for it to also be helpful to other people. So really just thank you for listening. If you got to this part, right, you've listened to us for whatever, an hour and change at this point. You know, appreciate your support. I would say, just keep in mind that, you know, we're still really new to this, right? So, you know, as much as possible, you know, let us know what you like about what we're doing. Let us know what you don't like about what we're doing. If there's things that that we've got wrong, let us know, right? You know, I think we're all kind of open to feedback of all sorts. So really, I would say, you know, really excited to have everyone on board with us, kind of as we go through this journey. And yeah, thank you for being one of the first listeners. And yeah, hopefully, you know, you'll stick around with us.
Thank you, OG Dre. Kind of plugged us, and I mean, I feel like he kind of, I mean, he speaks, at least for me, and I don't know the rest of the group, but yeah, like he summed it up very well. I mean, we're appreciative of anybody who's, you know, taking the time to listen to us, you know, giving us the time of day. You know, we're kind of divulging ourselves and pouring our hearts and souls into what we do, you know. So and even though we kind of, some of us self-identify as introverts, you know, this is a really extroverted activity. But you know, I think as we continue to, if you stay with us, you know, as we continue to grow and mature, you guys get to be a part of that. So thank you for being on the first one, and many more to come.
It's like the stare down between Francis and Chunky. I'm like, what's going on?
Oh, so yeah, I guess I wasn't sure if we all need to say something, but yeah, but I definitely echo what, you know, what my cousin and Dre said. You know, thank you for listening to us, for sticking with us for the last hour plus, almost 2 hours here. So thank you very much. You know, I think the goal for me, especially from the social media standpoint, is really create this community where we can actually learn from each other and take this journey as a team. So, you know, if there's something that, you know, like whatever your biggest takeaway is from the conversation that's been shared on the podcast, we would love for you to get engaged in either on our Facebook page or on IG or Twitter. We are, you can find us on all the platforms. So please get engaged, you know, get the conversation going. And, you know, and one of the biggest thing we hope to do is really bring some of those feedback from the comment on the show as well. So please, thank you again, and hope to see a lot more of you guys down the line.
Listen, I'm a grown man. I speak for myself. With that being said, I echo what D Black says. I echo what Trey says, and I echo what Francis says. Pretty much. Thank you. We'll see you 80 podcasts later. We're here to make your day or your night better. That's the whole purpose of us trying to do this. We want to spread our influence. We want to spread our enlightenment to everybody else to have an impact. So you can hate us, you can love us, but we're just here to just make the world a better place. It's been a crazy 2020. We're hoping for a better 2021. So let's turn this thing around. Let's love each other. Let's be the best people we can be. And let's just make the world just amazing.
Key facts. When you got a team this strong, you don't have to stay on too long. So with that being said, I'd like to close it out. If you're interested in learning about the next episode when that releases, be sure to check us out at JJCPodcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for more details. Stay tuned for the outro. You'll get details on how to reach us personally if you'd like to get a shout out for your business. And we're calling all our Black businesses out there. Definitely reach out to us. We'd like to shout you out. And those additional details on how to learn more about the podcast is all in the outro. So definitely stick around for that. And until then, until the next episode.
Peace out.
And that concludes today's episode, but that doesn't mean the conversation has to end. As a matter of fact, check us out on Instagram or Twitter at JJCPodcast for our post-discussion question. If you're a Black business owner and like to be featured on the show, shoot us an email at jjcpod@gmail.com. Additional details in the description field below. As always, likes, comments, and shares are humbly appreciated.
Subscribe to be notified when our next episode releases. But until then, stay blessed. Peace.